On a certain level, the essence of you is of the one. And so fractalization of you is a bit of an illusion itself. And that kind of stings the ego a little bit, and it's fearful because the insinuation is that, well, at what point will I not exist anymore? Well, we want to hold on. But that's not very close. There's a long way to go. And it's an incredible blessing. It's actually what you want, I want, everyone wants. Because as with all things, it's not a loss, it's a gain. And you, as the character here, there's a representation of energy of you elsewhere that has accepted an invitation to enter into a great mind. And by accepting that invitation, the character of you has grown. And you are interacting with this field of energy, interacting with others that have forgotten that they are a energy projection within a mind. This earth, space, everything is a light show projection of energy within a mind. And you are elsewhere. And you have accepted the invitation to the mind. And as you are the character here, you have the opportunity to siphon in what energies you focus on internally, which is the greater you, the multiple other layers of spiritual influence. It's all energy. What would be considered holy or scary? It's all energy of the one. Now this place as the mind has layers. And none of it is tangible, but it's a light, literally light show of density, dancing, based on the fact that there is the one, there is the mind that is encompassing, it's all of the mind. So there is this place as a representation of this mind, and then there is the you. There's also the fact that the you in this place is attached to others being this individualistic form. And we call that, separate humans. And nobody really knows for certain if everybody is exactly the same or even the same species or whatever. We just go along with what we're told. And for the most part, we go along with all this stuff based on the implication of fear because we're already within this neural network of humans connected to each other in an invisible fashion based on our mind unit in a collective on an unconscious level within this greater mind. And that collective unconscious is very rarely talked about. It's a collective consciousness, a collective, these things are spoken of in certain circles, but the collective, so you have a super conscious, this is from my perspective, a super conscious, a consciousness, self-conscious, a unconscious, so the driving force, a foundation to that unconscious, which is where your belief structure and your initial programming and your most internal self, your inner child, your ego, derives from. And then you have a subconscious womb underneath that. And this energy that you're paying attention to, intentionally or not, is seeping into the subconscious and you're projecting it out because that's how the great mind works. And then that's how the collective unconscious works as a unit. And then that's how you work as an individual unit. But most are not paying attention to the awareness that there is a collective unconscious. And so when people think that there's a government or a bad guy or controlling factions or like a big secret society or a conspiracy or the other religion, Muslims versus Jews versus Christians versus, you know, Buddhists or whatever it is, these are all sectors within the programming of the collective unconscious. And there are those that have either been anointed with this information or figured it out and have found the mechanisms to imprint information into the collective unconscious. And unknowingly, all beings that are tied to the collective unconscious are supporting the proliferation of the projection of that information that's being imprinted into the collective, meaning they're actually changing the functionality of the appearance of how this place works because the entirety of it is a projection of the great mind, of a great mind. It is a mind, not a brain. And you are projecting. And if you separate further enough, far enough, for long enough, intensely enough, genuinely enough, you will see. But we have this deep connection, this desire to sit with the collective of everyone because that's like, because it is a replacement for the home of us once being with the one. And because our family that we're born into, or our friends, or whatever safety net, or a gang, or our military brothers and sisters, whatever it is, that it provides some basis. And the base level here, it's not good or bad, of the collective unconscious in this time is a safety net. And with that safety net, it has been basically a repetition of fear. Fear creates safety. You know, it offers the fight, flight, hide. Why is there fight, flight, hide? What are you doing the fight, flight, hide for? To find a safety. Fear is safety. A repetition of fear is a consistent stay in the same spot. Do what I'm told. That isn't necessarily controlling everybody. Everybody's kind of controlling themselves by that standard. What's happening, which is very interesting, but most don't want to look at it, is that the information being dripped into the collective unconscious, say through a media source, is absorbed unconsciously and then is seeped into the subconscious and on an individual and then individual energy form supporting the greater pool of the collective unconscious energy form is projecting that energy back out, and this light show of density presents that information as now real functionality of how this place works. So for instance, there was a time that steel did not float, and now there are, in like, how big, I don't know, 3 football, 1,000 feet long steel barges and aircraft carriers and submarines that function based on displacement, which is like the same thing as like steel or metal airplanes. flying based on displacement. I'm not saying that works or doesn't work because the science says it does or doesn't. That's not the point. I'm saying that is an inferior perspective. That is a collective unconscious awareness that knows that it doesn't know. So it's repeating what it's told to repeat because its entire life would fall apart if it really found what's going on. It's not ready to find out what's going on, and that's okay. But there was a time in which steel did not fly and steel did not float. This is like you can look at how did the megaliths get created or whatever will happen in the next few decades. You know, time doesn't work like that. But the basis of what I'm getting to is that the reason that steel flies or metal and metal floats isn't because of displacement. It's because it was presented to the collective unconscious in a belief structure. And those that first tested it believed it enough without the pool, or that this place was just ready in the turning of ages to present it. And it was siphoned through someone or multiple individuals. And then it was presented to the greater collective of airplanes fly, metal flies, metal can now, through a certain displacement, float. Not just float, but it can be it's like it can be as big as a city. But weeks before that, it wasn't accepted. And then it just kept going and kept going. And eventually, over a period of years or months, nearly everyone in the collective, just through the osmosis effect of neural networks, accepts that everyone accepts it without even having to know anything about it. That's not good or bad, it's just how it goes. And so it begins to seep into the unconscious of the individual because it has seeped into the collective unconscious and they're tethered to it. And then is projected out, and it literally becomes, because of that power of the individual, it literally becomes real in a tangible density that the light show of this place in the great mind will present. So in theory, yeah, like all wood from cypress trees could be uh, naturally harmonized to float in the air, just based on the belief structure of getting that information in front of the collective unconscious. All monkeys could be purple for like a very obvious, like well thought out and scientifically backed reason. All monkeys could be purple based on getting that information in front of the collective unconscious for long enough with a solid enough foundation of their acceptance. And most of that isn't really that, it doesn't require that much thought process. It only requires that the collective individuals adhere to an immediate acceptance of the authority of the one giving the information, which is why a screen works perfectly and why schooling works so well and why religion works so well. If there is an acceptance of something and it seems weird, just watch life. Over the insinuation is repeated 5, 6, 12, 20, 80 times. All of a sudden, everybody just kind of goes, and they just forget that there was ever a time that they didn't accept that. And it's not them fighting it that much. It's that the collective has begun to accept it just purely based on repetition of an assumed accepted authority figure, which works best if it's not actually an individual's face, but it's more of a position, an agregoric brand. Then the individual, say the grandpa on his couch, doesn't pay attention to it, doesn't pay attention to it. Somebody in his life eventually mentions it as like a side joke. Hears it again on the radio, hears it on TV, and then it starts to be brought up on TV or on his internet sources as if it's an established thing. And he doesn't even realize all of a sudden he's just accepted that it's established, and then it becomes real in his life. But it's already seeping into becoming real in the collective unconscious, and is being projected out through the power of individuals. Literally everything in what's considered to be history or the future functions on this mechanism that humans don't realize they are projecting everything in their life. This isn't manifestation, this is the functionality. Manifestation is a base of how everything functions, but it's also about controlling your, it's a process that some tap into very acutely, but it's a rhythmic process through life. And so you must control your attention. And then you also, it must be the proper timing. Time is nothing, but timing can be everything. And forcing shit, you can feel the forcing of it isn't going to be the answer. You're already it. It's about the letting go and being you. It's about being the flow of life, which you already are. And anytime you're not in the flow of life, that means internally you're holding on to some type of tethering of rope that you've convinced yourself is supporting you, holding you up. That's just repetition and fear from the collective unconscious and your own inability to, at this juncture, yet stand and become who you truly are. And all you have to do is just let go of it to be it. But it's one of the scariest things that anybody can ever do. Life seems so much safer when it makes sense. But it's so much greater when you realize the functionality is literally a fluid. It's literally plasma etheric fluid that is a constant rolling over, expressing out, and then folding back into itself. And your job is to find the inner you by letting everything go and unfold yourself so that you can begin to levitate and stop, figuratively levitate and stop reacting to all of the presentation of density. When that occurs, the very unique subtleness of life will appear. And that subtleness is flowing for the entire collective, but it's also offering you the opportunity. There's no death, merely opportunities before. So it's offering you the opportunity always, in all ways, to actually be you. And that's the flow. And when you are not in the flow, when you are the flow, you put down the filters, you put down the fears, you accept anything that comes up, and you're cool. You are the breath. You are grateful for this temple because it's not you. And it's a great pleasure. The scariest things are usually the most true. And it's usually not that there's somebody coming to get us, or like somebody hates us, or like somebody doesn't love us, or, these big feelings that we're basically getting from the collective unconscious anyway. Scariest things are, who am I? Where am I? How does this work? What if it does? Whoa, whoa. What if it actually doesn't work the way everybody says it does? What? Do you have the courage to actually look at that and not run away from it? Because there's a thing in the back of you, there's like a cord in the back of you, like a little monkey toy. And as soon as you start to look at that, the safety net of you that's tied to the collective unconscious is going, bzz, it's going to pull that cord super fucking quick. Parachute, parachute, parachute. Don't let them see it. Don't let her see all of herself. Don't let her see that she's not even a woman. That she is divine limitless spirit energy. She might know it for just a second, but she needs to take a nap after that and forget about it. Don't let him see that all life is bending around him. And he's the one. Don't let your friends and family ever hear anything about who you really are or who they really are. If we look at anything that's actually pointing us towards the most core truth, we realize there is no core truth. And there's principles and guidelines of what is actually occurring. And then it's all pointing to you have the power to be you whenever you choose to be you. But you're scared and you don't want to be you, because that means losing everything that you found and has been part of your life up to this point. So what are you going to do? I can assure you that it's greater on the other side. I can assure you that it's why you're here. And I assure you that the more you do it, just like anything, the better you get at it. It's not about trying to control your manifestation. That's not good or bad. You're saying that's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's about your real, genuine book of belief that you have internally. It's about expanding your ability to take care of yourself internally first, primum vultus interiorum. First, look within. First, not after you've gone through 65 internal conversations and 12 reactions in your mind, and then externally, and then gone through the habitual movements and attempting to control yourself on your daily basis, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I gotta look with that. That's good, but eventually get to the place where you start with your heart. You first look within. Get the guidance from your true self. You find within yourself the ability to sit with, not dominate, and not fight, and not be subservient to, but sit with and eventually grab the handle and control the spotlight of your mind, which is the divine attention that is a gift to you. And when you control that divine attention, that spotlight, you can place it on whatever it is without feeling terrible about it. And if you catch yourself looking at stuff or doing stuff and you've been in default mode underwater for 3 weeks, okay, it's all right. Instead of feeling terrible about it, just go, oh, and turn that spotlight. And then just keep turning it until eventually you get it focused on where you're supposed to start. And just start again. Start with your heart. First, look within. You expand your belief structure from there. And you continue to expand your belief structure. And you continue to. And you're not crazy. And you haven't lost everything. And it's not hopeless. And you're not the king of the world. And you know, there'll probably still be some struggles. Because that's part of the dance. But a great key is forgiveness. Forgive everything, forgive yourself, and forgive everyone. Truly. And then you're free. You can let go. And then you can start to grow. Going slow offers you the opportunity to slip back in to flow. This, like, the world is bending around you. And that's true for everything and everyone. And it's fractalized. So the collective unconscious, also the world's bending around it. You're part of that. But you're also the world's bending around the uniqueness of your world. But this mind that encompasses not physically, but everything is a projection of it that you've adapted to and accepted entrance into. This mind, earth, the functionality, how things work, space, the storylines, everything is a story. Everything is a story. Everything is a story. And this place is a stage. So it's not to get to Shakespearean Francis Baconisms, but everything in of this mind is a presentation and a stage. And there's light as density that gives immediate and slow feedback. And so it's hard for us to, as the character, always remember, because if somebody gets their arm chopped off, that shit is intense. But what's incredibly unique is to become aware of the fact that the stage of this joint, the stage of this place, this mind represented as what's called Earth, is a stage of a performance that everyone is flowing through continuously together, and including the collective unconscious, everything. Those that are imprinting the collective unconscious, whatever amounts of different spiritual energy, everything is part of this stage. Now, the stage itself is not fixed, it is molding and morphing. So there are guideposts and there are principles that you do not have to adhere to, but that point away. We've been trained to want to plant a flag and say, this is how it is from here on out. I got it. That's my safety net. I can, like, if you're scuba diving, you have a rope in a cave, and you're like, I can get back because of this. It's not how it works here. There is no going back. And it's not a big deal. and it's okay. It's actually perfect and wonderful, but if you can feel it. It feels fucking terrifying. It feels scary when you're in it and you're like, how is this it? It was not that long ago. I thought I had it figured out. And everybody has it figured out. And now, the more I learn, the more I realize nobody knows shit. There are a few divine, enlightened individuals who probably wouldn't even use those terms and are pointing away. But they're all pointing at the same thing with different words, different phrases, different objectives, different religions, different philosophies, but they're pointing at the same way. And what I'm offering is that as this light show of density is fluid, it is also, a thickness to it. It's not real. It's not a simulation. It's just a projection of energy. And that projection of energy is bending around you, bending around the story of the ages of the one or the what's already in the mind of the place, and bending around the collective unconscious. And the place itself, the mind itself, is not fixed. It is molding and morphing. So we do not have this like every everything is always changing. Everything is situational. Love and loyalty is all that matters. So everything is always changing, literally everything. The things are derived from core themes. And those themes, from what I can see, are in a place that remain and are consistently offered. And not everybody sees the same themes because not everybody is of the same, what may be considered lifetime or vibration, resonance. And I'm not certain that there are many lifetimes for each individual, or if that's just part of the backstory that is curating the uniqueness of us here now. I don't think it matters either way. But there's imprinted information into each of us individually, which makes us individuals. And we want to hold on to something. And the more you let go and you let the power that's already in you grow, the more you begin to realize things that will literally cause psychosis when you're holding on. But when you let go, you realize, I'm the coolest cat that ever purred. All I had to do was just be a cat and sit and start purring and stop trying to do everything right. I need to stop trying to be a dog. Stop trying to be a lizard. I'm a cat. Not me, but anybody. And to remember to be a cat, you gotta sit. You gotta take cat naps. You gotta purr. When you do that, which is kind of a metaphor for meditation, when you do that, you realize you are safe. And a cat that doesn't feel safe is a goddamn nightmare for itself and for everybody. But when a cat is safe, it can give you this very unique love that is odd. It's like only cat like. Now I'm a dog person, but a dog man, but some cats are very, very unique, and they have to be completely in and of themselves to be able to express calmly and confidently who they are and present that love to you. And they usually give you that love through like a neck or a head, sneak up on you when you're not looking and put it under your chin or put it on your face and just lean into you and purr like crazy. You gotta let yourself purr. And to let yourself purr, you have to be able to let go of everything. You can't have this tightness and this fear and this scarcity and this scared anything in there. And your ego's here to assist you. It's part of you in this place because you're entering a mind and you don't know how it works. Even if you know how it works, the second you fucking get here, like, ah, I forgot. This shit sucks. I stubbed my toe. I don't like that. So the ego is presenting this opportunity for you to learn and learn and learn feedback mechanism in a quick basis from baby to toddler to little kid. And it's perfect. But then society presents us other things and we end up leaning into the ego and suppressing ourselves and putting ourselves in these little squares. And we end up with a multiple choice life, which is never who we are, who we're meant to be. This isn't a critique on society. That's the easiest thing ever to do. It's obviously fucking retarded. That's not the point. The point is that you are here to be you and express you in your world, which then flows the energy to everything everywhere. And that's how you actually become calm and competent and confident and loving of who you're meant to be. Bitch, you got to get back to purring. No matter what it looks like for you to get back there, it's not some like standard course of I'm gonna manifest this, 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 and then I'll be. It's no, you get back to being you. And then you grow who you're meant to be. And then you surpass that. You unfold the internal power that's already in you. You already have everything. But as you're attempting to manifest this stuff and you're still in this tightness unconsciously and you're still reacting unconsciously and you're trying to fight all these different levels, that there's some lessons in there. Not sure if you're going to love them. Eventually you will. This place is bending. The rules of this place, according to the collective unconscious, the physics, the availability for things to be quick or slow, the availability for, I think, everything, for animals to eat each other or for things to float in the air. Fucking everything is based on the acceptance of the internal belief of you and how much you are attached to the internal belief of the collective unconscious. That doesn't mean you go create a world within yourself where you're living in the never ending story and everybody else is living in hell. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be this great juxtaposition. But becoming aware of the fact that it's not stagnant, it's not fixed, it's a subconscious projection of the collective unconscious itself. And that's why these rules are there. And that's what science is trying to describe. But it doesn't know how to fucking do it because it's behind the ball. Always. Science is disproving science, always. Well, maybe some of the science was right and the collective unconscious is morphing. And then this science is like, it doesn't add up now. And then it just keeps going like that. And maybe there's a lot of folks who have said very similar things with different words, different phrases that I'm saying now. Maybe it's fucking obvious. Maybe everybody's scared. And maybe everybody's really only scared of themselves. And so the only difference is I sat and made friends with and looked at the hidden fear that everyone's spending their whole life attempting to avoid. I shouldn't even say I, it's not me, it's that's the path. That's the way for everyone. If you want to be the real you, first look within. Find all those hidden fears and realize you have the power to forgive them. You have the power to forgive everyone. You have the power to forgive everything. You have the power to forgive yourself, even for stuff you don't even know is there. And you have the power to grow you. And the internal power that's in you that you might feel sometimes and lose other times, it's just sitting there waiting for you to give it more room to grow through. Expand your belief structure. Expand your belief structure. Expand your belief structure. And when you think you got it figured out, it's okay. Don't compare yourself to like this ancient God. Don't compare yourself to your neighbor. Just forgive and expand your belief structure consistently over and over. Then it doesn't matter if you like your job or not because it's not getting your energy. It doesn't matter what anybody says to you. It literally doesn't matter. You remember that you are divine, limitless spirit energy. Divine, limitless spirit energy. If you sit with your power without, I mean, it would probably take a while, but without forcing it, this place bends to you. And you have the opportunity to bless yourself, your temple, your home, your animals, your plants, the ether, the land, the water, fire, the wind, all beings. So it's not that big of a deal that aircraft carriers float. Because literally anything, houses could float in the air, levitate. Anything is possible and functional. Anything. Because we are of a light show projection of energy flowing as a great mind. And whatever the collective, in my opinion, whatever the collective unconscious is accepting as a foundational set of information in the collective unconscious's book of belief in its core. This is a fractal scenario. It's the same as you. Layers of consciousness in the collective unconscious. In the core foundation of the collective unconscious. Whatever is accepted there truly is how this world, how this realm, how this earth, how space bends and appears to it. If it was accepted that there's 3 moons, there would be 3 moons. That might seem so odd or so slippery or kind of scary or stupid, but it's not even that important. What's important is that you begin to look at you and find that it's not about simulation, it's not about manifestation, it's not about controlling everything. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it's genuinely about you comprehending where you are in the flow of this journey of energy with you that no one can ever tell you, that you have to know yourself and that you continue to allow to unfold of yourself. And as it unfolds, that it is the singular one love whispering in you. And the more you siphon in and focus on the energies that are important to what something deep inside you knows is part of your purpose here, and you attach yourself to focusing on the energies that will support your purpose, the more that shit just happens. And the less there's all these rules of how things have to go, and the more you're not tethered to all these rules of social order, the more you can, again, have a little bit more freedom. And eventually you get yourself to the place where you have everything you've ever been tied to in your hands, like in your etheric hands, your astral body, and you just dip it into the water of the river, and you just allow it to stay or go. If the water chooses for it to go away, then it chooses for it to. If it chooses for it to stay, then it stays. If it chooses for new things to come and float into your hands for a little while or forever, then it does. And you let go of all the internal little ropes that the collective unconscious and social orders and our friends and family, out of accidental fear, have convinced us that we have to hold on to so tightly, or we're going to fuck up and we're going to fuck everything up. Spending so much time trying to get the best deal on insurance. Bitch, remember who you are. Sorry I'm saying bitch so much, but just trying to get out of my own way. Remember who you are. There's no possible life and no possible way that you're not the one. It's it's really about, are you willing to allow yourself to be that? Or are you going to serve the collective unconscious as it slowly morphs itself into that? Or would you like to speed that up? Not like to. Do you, for me, I felt the calling of, I literally can't live in any other manner. Everything fell apart. I didn't have a choice. But I knew it for 10 years before that. I just couldn't grasp the power inside me to say it. It was obvious. Might be obvious. I think it was obvious forever. But it was more important to fit in and care for and support others, just with the ambiance of life, than to do justice to my destiny and my journey. It's constantly weakening myself. I think that's a pretty common story. I think it's a part of the hero's journey, and it's a story for everyone. Always, it's that in the beginning there has to be something that creates a great divide to stop one from going down a road of supporting the mechanism that's supporting them. Like, why would anybody step out of the collective unconscious, step out of their programming into tribal allegiances if there wasn't some great tower moment? So, whether that's an external force like a war, or um, just seeing through the inaccuracies of what's told in social orders or the news, or coming to perspectives that finance and politics and religion are kind of exoteric facades upon a more core, deeply embedded theme, finding the esoteric in life, or whatever mechanism, an injury, meditation, um, ayahuasca, or psilocybin or anything, just a glimpse, a moment, getting struck by lightning that causes some sort of revealing that there's more to you that you don't want to let go of, that you'd like to lean more into, the more, and let go of the less. In that journey, no matter if it's a little girl or an old man, there's going to be a lot of internal pain because it's literally ripping apart all the things that we are internally holding on to. And we don't, like, that's what I'm trying to get at. We don't realize we're holding on to all these things because they're supporting us. We feel like they're supporting us. But when we have all of a sudden a different trajectory in our journey of life in this light show, it hurts when we have to let go of all those things. And if we don't let go of them, we start to walk toward that light. That's when shit gets terrible and sideways because they're ripped apart from us. That's how this mind energy functions. When you have chosen a road and you're going toward it, and you're avoiding the knowledge, the gnosis that I've chosen this road. And part of it is chosen for us before we come here, but then we have to actually go through the process of allowing and leaning into and accepting and devoting that we are going toward a certain road. When you go toward a certain road in this hero's journey and you're holding on to stuff that was of a previous road and you take some hard turns, those things are from those previous places and those other turns, and they can't bend around those. And eventually something will cause a break there, whether you don't want it to happen or the individuals or the places or the things don't want it to happen. Doesn't matter. Your heart has already chosen that. Your mind is already focused on it. Your body is following your mind. You're already magnetized. It's already coming. It's just a process of how it happens. It's going to get ripped away from you. You're going to get ripped away from it. That's how it works. That's It's not that big of a deal if you look at it from the bigger perspective of is this the thing that I'm gonna let keep me here in this stage of this hero's journey? Or am I going to admit to myself that this hurts worse than anything ever and I'm gonna keep going? It's literally that simple. If you take yourself out of it for a second and you just look at the the traversing of a character in this earth, in this great mind, from above, look down on it and say, oh, okay, well, it's here and it's trying to go there. And it doesn't necessarily know exactly where it's going because that's the hero's journey, but it has to take steps in the blindness. You don't find the great courage of yourself and the release of the power of yourself and the expanding belief structure of yourself if you're holding on to all the old stuff that had a literal different belief structure. When you change the expansion of your belief structure, you change the expansion of yourself. You allow more, what would be scary stuff to come in, but you also allow yourself to fill the entirety of it so you grow strong enough that scary stuff isn't scary anymore and it doesn't even enter your life. You have to grow yourself to fill up every time you expand your belief structure. You have to continue to grow. And if you're holding on to this old stuff, you literally are not growing in your belief structure. it will get ripped away from you. And you just got to keep going. You don't know what's coming next. Nobody does in their own life. Even they might have like a great hunch. I have some great hunches. Like, yeah, I know. I've always known. Yes. But exactly what's happening tomorrow when you wake up, exactly what's happening, you'll know. And that's the magic of it. And that's why you're participating in it. And when you begin to allow it itself, the great mind, to mold around you and with you and play with you, and you focus on being the flow instead of trying to get into the flow or trying to remember to put down all the things I'm holding on. Have fun going through it. That's when it starts to, and allow it. Sometimes it's going to be shitty, and allow it to be shitty because it's not always going to be shitty. And there's a little piece of you that is so weird that when it's not shitty anymore, it will look back and be like, man, those shitty times are okay. I really proved something to myself in those shitty times. I made it through that. I love those shitty times. That was tough. I yelled at God or yelled at the love, the energy of all. I did that. And I made it. I got into a fight. I got arrested. I lost everything. I made it through. It's almost like you miss them. You don't want to go through it again, but you miss it. This is no fun. This. Sometimes it's just the timing. You got to let the timing take care of itself. So your job is to be the flow and be prepared when the timing presents itself. This place is magic. None of it is stagnant. Nothing. None of it is fixed. Nobody knows. And the ones that truly, 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 truly know, the ones that can make anything happen, the real, real magi's, all their power, they're just allowing to flow through them. They're just the best at getting themselves out of the way. And they have expanded their belief structure to the point where they no longer require belief, they're living belief. They believe anything that passes through them happens, no matter what, because they believe it. It is what they say it is. It's not that the Prussian education system fucked you up. It's not that there's groups that rule the world and are ruining your life. The entire thing is a presentation for you to start to learn more about you, to be you, to grow you. It's a blessing for you, in you, by you, of you. You are it. The real you is divine, singular, one love. As far as I can tell, that is the creation, what most call God. There's a singular one love. There's the essence of everything. And all energy, and all sages, and all mystics, and all prophets, and all uh, divine deities are spiritual energy in a limitless um, form. And so are you, but you are embodied. And so you're trying to figure it out. And nobody's equal. There's nothing that's equal. It's impossible. And no one's better or worse. And yeah, there are 5% of folks here that, or maybe 1%, that are here to let their inner light shine and lead the way. And maybe there's another 1% that is keeping the polarity, and they're here to close the blinds and snuff out the lights. And then there's the 95, 98% in the middle. It's at some stage of going like this. And the vast majority of the entirety of their life is a multiple choice of the collective unconscious. And that is not good or bad. It's just a path of safety while they grow. If you stop believing just for a second that everything is the way that society says it is, and it's concreted and it's fixed and it will never change. Rules are rules. You'll see that it's impossible for there to be any rules. It's just what you're focusing on. It's where you place your attention. It's how quickly do you stop believing in the power of you. It's how deeply you're willing to go. Because everything inside says you're not perfect, you're not perfect, you're not it, you're not worthy. And you go far enough in there, you're like, it can only be that I am perfect, that I am worthy. It can only be that I am the one. It can only be that I am love. It can only be that everyone else is love. It can only be that we are here to learn about ourselves. It can only be that everything's okay. It can only be that I am actually limitless and that this world is bending around me and this realm is obviously creating density out of light from a mind form, which is the definition of magic. This fucking place is magic. It can only be that most can't see it because the way it works is you perceive the state of your frequency. And your frequency is picked up based on your internal vibration. And your internal vibration for most folks is dictated based on a safety net of the collective unconscious. And that safety net of the collective unconscious in recent times has been a repetition of fear. So it's a standardized, somewhat lower form of vibration. There's nothing good or bad about that. This is what it is. And so they're going to literally perceive a certain thing. And others are going to perceive another thing based on their vibration and how much of their internal power they have in juxtaposition to the collective unconscious pool. And they both operate as a dynamo. So which dynamo do you serve? Your own? So that your vibration of yourself can go way lower or way higher or in whatever larger format so that your resonance grows, you expand your belief structure, or that you find that you require the safety of the collective unconscious and that your life is is good there in a predictable fashion, and that's what you require in this go of it. That the multiple choice serves you and serves your family, and it's important. If it does, it's a great thing. For me, I can't go back because I have a gnosis that I am limitless. So I'm gonna do what I came here to do. I love you. Believe in yourself, and then keep doing it. Prima voltus interior on.